episode 270 of Checkpoint Chat. I'm Alessandro Barbosa. I'm joined by Matthew Figueroa.
I sincerely hope you cannot hear the traffic behind me.
I cannot, thankfully, no.
Because I see levels on Audacity.
Oh, really?
But very, very low, but you know, it often happens.
Discord's noise suppression is very good.
It's
incredibly powerful.
Good. Sometimes Lenska will call me and she'll say, "Where are you?" I'll say, I'm at home. Why? Oh, it sounds like you're standing outside. It's like, no, that's just the open windows. There's cars within arm's reach, just outside the window. No, just trucks driving past and whatnot.
It is the one thing that, having moved now, over time, I'd become accustomed to just hearing a lot of cars because we were on a relatively busy street as well.
Same.
And, at first you're like, oh my God, that's so noisy. And then, like anything over time, it just becomes like white noise. Your brain trains it out.
Yeah.
And now that I don't have it, it's like, oh, this feels kind of nice. Like what silence is. You know? So now whenever there's a car that drives past, I'm like, whoa, like, Jesus, that's loud.
Kids these days, that's when you know you're getting old. I don't know. I grew up, I mean, you remember my mom's house.
Very busy road, yeah.
Yeah, on the main road. So that was my norm. Also, a Shell garage, literally one house away, 2 houses away.
Yeah.
So
no, that you've been molded by it.
Oh, I have. I remember Lenska staying over and sometimes just saying to me, "What is that noise?" And I just have to look. No, it's a truck at the garage. Because you'd hear a metal pipe dropping or something, and if you don't know, you're like, "Oh, what is that?" Nah, it's just the Shell garage. I don't know, putting petrol, something.
Took a lot of effort to keep in a lot of jokes there, but yeah, it's just
what now?
So much effort.
now,
though. So much innuendo. Jeez.
Now though, I'm still on the main road, but we've got double glazed windows. So the moment these bad boys are closed, it really suppresses the sound. Except in summer, you'll actually die if you keep the windows closed because it gets too hot.
I was about to say, because when I was there, obviously it was fucking winter, and I was going to say, I don't recall it being noisy at all. The only noise, quote unquote, was you didn't think it was noise, but I thought it was quite nice, was the person playing violin.
Oh, the flute.
Is it violin? Flute. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. And you and Lenska were like, try live with it.
Listen, it's not bad, but that you know what, we've come full circle. That is my white noise now. It starts up, I don't even hear it. It's just not there. It's invisible.
Is it a problem where it's like too early in the morning, or is it just because it's happening at all that it's an issue?
It's just that it happens a couple times a day, 7 days a week, just about. So nothing worse than laying down for a quiet Sunday afternoon nap, potentially, closing your eyes, going into your Dracula pose on your back.
I love sleeping like that. It's great. Yeah.
Only for the surprise noise to appear. Just from nowhere.
The surprise noise. There's an episode title just right there. It's great.
Surprise noise.
Love that. Yeah. Surprise noise.
I mean,
right. You've now got me thinking, because this is a hot topic for some people. This is why we've waited 270 episodes to get to it. How?
This is the longest running build-up or podcast arc in history.
What is your go-to sleeping pose? You know what I mean? Like, how do you sleep? On your back, on your stomach, actually, on your side?
My most comfortable, I think, if I really want to fall asleep, is on my side, but on my left side specifically. I don't know why.
On your left. Okay.
It's strange because for years and years I don't know, actually, now thinking about it, where did this problem go? I used to have this lower left back pain on my hip. I used to like, I could basically click it a couple times a day. Something was not 100% there.
That doesn't sound great.
Your face was my face for many, many times over the years going, I don't know what this is. It's not like this pain, but it's just something doesn't feel right. So
you weren't 30 yet, hey?
I wasn't. No, this is for years and years.
Okay.
So lying on my left side for an extended period of time was actually that over time became painful. I was like, what is going on? It's not, I'll just flip over to the other side. I don't have that anymore. Talking about it, I don't know why, but sleeping on my left side is the premium way.
Are you like Wolverining through your
I
midlife?
don't know.
Like you're actually healing?
Maybe. What do you mean? Maybe, I don't know.
What, you got over 30 and you somehow got rid of a pain. You didn't inherit one.
Well, why did I have a pain to begin with? I mean,
It doesn't matter. You healed. Your body adapted.
Is it the chair I was sitting on for many years? It could be. I don't know.
100%. People discount how important a chair is, especially because we sit for like fucking 9 hours a day. Like
9. Those are rookie numbers. Try sitting.
Oh, that's actually true. You are not wrong.
No.
But I've told this story multiple times. Like when we went into COVID, and I, at the time, like everyone panicked, and I was like, "Will I ever be in an office again?" And the answer at the time was like, "Probably not." And so I splurged on a really, really expensive, but now looking back, in a pretty affordable office chair because hey, it's now like 4 or 5 years of having it, and it looks pretty much new, minus cat hair. And B, like, it is the comfiest thing I've ever sat on. Like, I never have issues with my back or whatever. And I went to my parents for a week last week to house sit for them. My mom has one of those. I'm not going to say the brand because, like, I don't want to disparage a brand just because I'm not, like, because I don't find the chair comfortable. I'm not going to. Anyway, it's a chair that is like meant to be good for your back and ergonomic and all this and that. And I was the one.
Can I guess the brand?
No, do not say anything. No. And I picked it out for her because she didn't want to spend the same amount of money I spent on my chair. And I was like, cool, whatever. I sat in that thing for a week and my back was fucked.
I know.
So sore. It was like I had gone to gym and like pulled my back out, like done like deadlifts or squats weirdly and completely wrecked my lower back. And as soon as I stopped sitting in that chair, totally fine. Weird. So you know what? Good chairs come in clutch. They also have a clutch so they can move up and down.
I hate this conversation so much. No, but I'm gonna talk to that because I think my lower left back pain came from sitting on an old, and I mean old, ancient, every description you could think of to describe fading away chair that we had at home for years and years. We had this, I don't know what brand it was, but this really old office chair, and this is an office chair from the times before lumbar support. I'm going to hazard a guess.
I bet I can picture the exact chair. It's got that like little pipe looking thing that comes out the back.
No,
and it's like got one cushion.
No, so it looked like a legit, like an executive chair, for lack of a better description. Like you could walk into an office, you would find a CEO sitting in this fancy ass looking chair, from back in the day. But you know, lumbar support. So, audio listeners, you're going to have to imagine this. You know, lumbar support, like it's like a C, or like not a C. That's dramatic. Like a subtle curve to support your spine.
Yes.
This chair was the inverse, pretty much. No, so
I'm sorry. What it like convex?
Like not concave, but like it just didn't have that support. So yeah, it just did not have lumbar support. So it was a chair I sat in for many, many years, and I do look back thinking maybe that is why I had that lower back pain. And how it's just vanished now.
I do think this whole idea of lumbar support is a fairly modern thing because you're right. You used to go into like old offices and especially like you said, like executives and whatever, and they have these like ornate leather office chairs that were just gigantic, and you'd sit in them, and within 5 minutes you're like, this is fucking atrocious. No one can sit in this the entire
day. What am I
turns out because no one did really. Yeah, exactly. So. I'm glad that you got rid of your side pain. I like sleeping on my back. Just to bring this conversation back to
that is a whole detour.
I like sleeping on my back, but I often fall asleep on my side. But the weird thing is that depending on what side of the bed I'm on, what side I end up sleeping on is different. And I say this only because I'm sure you, like many other astute listeners, are thinking, why does he change the side of the bed so often?
I'm baffled by this. Please expand.
Let me tell you. So at home, obviously, on a normal day, 90% of the time, always the same side of the bed, never an issue. If we go on holiday, or we go down to a place in Cape Town or whatever, that side of the bed will change.
No. Don't even say that.
So Shani has this thing where she likes being on the side of the bed that's always closest to the bathroom. Even if the bathroom is in another room, it might not even be like an ensuite, whatever. And so when we go to, say, for instance, Cape Town, I'm on the right side of the bed. Actually thinking about it, now at home I'm on the right side of the bed, but in our previous home I used to be on the left side of the bed because the bathroom was on the left side. And then if we use the other bedroom in her place in Cape Town, I'm on the left side of the bed because the right side of the bed is closer to the bathroom. I can tell this is hurting you, but this is my reality.
I'll tell you why. Okay, because many moons ago, at some points, the not early in our relationship, I'd say a couple of years in, Lenska thought, you know what, let's just live life on the edge and swap sides of the bed. I was like, this is crazy talk. I sleep on the left side, and that's just how we're gonna roll. Okay. I said, you know what, I will humor you. We will swap sides of the bed. And it was hilarious because we did not know how to function on the other side of the bed.
Right.
It's like, I'm gonna I like, good night, love you. I'm gonna turn to hold you now. I'm like, I don't know how to lie on my left arm now. it just felt so alien. I was like, I don't know how to spoon anymore. We've got to swap back. This isn't going to work out anymore. Actual conversations we've had. Okay, maybe paraphrased a bit, but that's the dilemma we faced. So long story short, I sleep on the left of the bed. She sleeps on the right side of the bed.
But like when you moved, those sides remained, right? You didn't change.
Yeah.
I'd love to know what that feels like, you know.
So I need to know, do you hate changing sides of the bed?
Yeah, it's terrible.
Okay.
It's like
Shani and Lenska are the people here.
It feels very foreign. Like, I'm so used to it now, but because I'm being forced to get comfortable with the uncomfortable. But it's almost like so I don't know, maybe this is a thing, but Shani did this thing in Cape Town. That's actually quite useful after a while, but you know, like when you walking down like promenade, or I guess you guys walking through London and you're holding hands, right? And your hands like kind of go into one another like that, right?
Yeah.
There is a way where you can like offset which fingers are where. So it's almost like, so if you think of like hold your own hand. This is great for video. You are like interlacing in a certain way. It's like this finger over this finger, this finger. Like undo them, shift it like one down.
No.
Exactly, right? Feels strange now. So every now and then that would happen naturally. And I'd be like, ugh, you know, like an immediate repulsive reaction.
Like any sane person.
Yeah, exactly. And Shani would like hold and be like, embrace the uncomfortability. And I'm like, okay. And after a few seconds, you're like, oh, okay, this is kind of fun. But those first 5 to 10 seconds, your insides are screaming. They are just like, you are dying inside. Everything inside of you is trying to get out and tell you that this is wrong. And after 10 seconds, it's fine. So I imagine this is exactly what I've had to become accustomed with the bed, is what I'm trying to say.
This is the modern equivalent of spicing up relationship. Like, just do things a bit differently.
Hold hands differently.
Like, no.
I'm good. I enjoy the way it is.
Yeah, thank you. Left side of the bed till I die.
Let me tell you, if you have lapsed as a listener, you are missing premium pre-gaming podcast content here.
Oh my God.
This is some of the best banter that has ever been.
And we held out for 270 episodes, just so you know.
We did, to get to this discussion. You know, so many things. The stars had to align in so many ways.
There was so much foreshadowing. With those times we spoke about beds in past podcasts, left sides and right sides, and you thought it was just red herrings.
This is all planned from episode 1. Like this.
Man.
This is the longest game we've ever played.
My God.
You know, not even COVID could derail this.
Yes, just say it. I know where you go.
I know, yeah, I can tell you're waiting. I just realized now, even in my own home, I had to change sides of the bed because my bathroom was on the right side. Video games. We talk about them here in Checkpoint Chat. Oh my god.
I'm equally repulsed by this conversation and glad that we had it.
Yeah, it felt cathartic to get it out of there. You know, it felt like a therapy session a little bit.
Great.
I did actually mention this whole hand-holding story to my psychologist. Wow, just like mumbled like crazy there. And she was like, that seems like a very useful exercise. And I was like, no. Do not agree. No.
I would have loved that story more if your psychologist looked at you and said, man,
get out.
Is Shani okay? Well, things are okay at home. Like, thank you. I knew it wasn't just me.
Do you know who's not okay at home?
No. Yes.
Everyone over the age of 33 in Lumiere.
Oh, we started with that game. Okay.
Sorry.
It could have gone either way. You know,
it could have. There's only two. It's a coin flip. Clair Obscur, Expedition 33. Not Obscura. This is a bone that I have to pick with every other podcast host, including me in past episode. It's not Obscura.
Damn.
It's Obscure. No A. Listen to the fucking soundtrack. There's no A.
Oh, or just read.
That's all I'm saying. Yeah, just read. There's no A there.
Open up.
The French are really good at not saying letters that are in the word, and now you are adding letters to that word.
So Clair Obscur.
Yeah. Which must mean something because they say it very often.
I'm waiting for the big reveal of this game when I get to the end and there's a lady named Clair Obscur, and I'm like, oh, thank you.
Your name's not Maëlle. It's been Claire all along.
That was why they called the game.
Clair Obscur, Expedition 33, the game with probably the longest name and yet somehow has become so well known and popular. I spoke about this last time we were on the podcast. Can you believe it's been 2 weeks since then? Nearly a week and a bit. Yeah, week and a bit. And I, at that point, had played quite a bit, but not as much as I have now. And you had played none. And you've now eclipsed where I am. So I really enjoyed it back then. I'm still really enjoying it. I think it's a great game.
Enjoyed it back then. I've changed my mind.
No, I've changed my mind. It's ass. Eskia can get fucked. Fuck this game.
My goodness.
No, I'm joking. This game's great. This game's really, really good. Special game. And I want to know now, because I remember finishing that discussion. I was like, you need to play this, Matthew.
And
You're going to love this game. Turns out.
Let me tell you, after that podcast, booted, and I'm kidding. Over the last 10 or so days, I've now put in 20-ish hours. So I've put quite a dent in this game.
It's like 2/3 of the game.
I've overtaken you. Yeah. So I was speaking to Jeff earlier to try to get a feel for how far I'm in the game. I suspected I'm over halfway. He's like, yes, you're definitely over halfway. The reason I ask is because I'm doing everything. I'm exploring every damn corner, every nook and cranny. And I think that is probably, we'll talk about the good. That's probably my only criticism of the game. And you actually mentioned it in the last episode, is that how does this game not have an actual map system?
It needs a fucking mini map.
Yeah, just a mini map in the general dungeons or the areas you're exploring. And then on the overworld, can I not just have a map to pin somewhere? That would change my life. I don't know about you. It would take this game from like a 95 to maybe a 98. Just push it up that little bit. So,
No, I get you. I'm with you on that. Yeah.
Other than those criticisms, I'm with you in that this game has no business being as good as it is. I mean, if you don't know, Clair Obscur Expedition 33 is made by a small team of around 30 people, like a core team of 30 people. More people made the game, but the core studio made this game. It's about 30 people. And it was founded by somebody who on a day worked at Ubisoft, thought, I want to go off and make my own game. And this was back in 2019, 2020. And then through COVID, just put together this small team who all share this vision. And the result all these years later in 2025 is this shockingly polished, really well thought out, gripping, just JRPG with some of the most beautiful art direction I've seen in a long time, and gameplay that is just really fun. Just like on every front, Expedition 33 is just hitting it out the park, and it's just wild. Well, not wild. I think it's just a good case study of, games can be really good if people are left to their own devices. If you let a creative team just follow on their vision and just give them free reign, give them the time to put the game together. I mean, I watched a video just today I shared in our Discord of, the like a 15-minute video of how this game went from concept to, final product in the 6 years, like the sort of that journey. And the video ended with a speech from the director of Baldur's Gate 3. I think he was presenting.
Sven something.
Sven, I can't think of his surname. I think it's Lars. I think in 2024 he was the one who he announced the winner for Lash's Game of the Year. And before he did that, though, he gave this quick little speech, like a minute long, minute and a half, saying he can predict. So the reason I'm bringing this up is because the video said that Sven has predicted that Clair Obscur is going to win Game of the Year for this year, and you're like, what does that even mean? And then what happened is it shows him giving that speech, and it shows footage of this game happening. And the essence of that speech is him saying the games that will win Games of the Year are the games that stick to their vision, who are made by people who believe in the game. And like Clair Obscur is just there ticking all of that. And then watching this film, I'm like, yeah, this game could 100% win Game of the Year, unless, I mean, we're still in May. I know there's still many games to come out this year, and there have been some good games this year. But unless there's something like, I don't know, on par or drastically better, this game has a really, really good chance of grabbing Game of the Year. It's phenomenal. I'm absolutely loving it, and I'm just hooked by it. It's like, there's a reason I've put 20 hours in like 10 days, whatever the time frame is.
Yeah, it's so good. I think yeah, if you're at all interested, you kind of need to go and read up on the heritage and lineage of the people that work at the studio, because I think a lot of it gets actually lost in some context. Like we were discussing last time, the idea that this game was made by 30 people, which is, yes, sure, but not entirely true. But, I hate that those sorts of things muddy what is, at the end of the day, a very inspiring story of like, a handful of people, apparently 4 of them, that worked at Ubisoft. And the one just going, I'm not able to make the games I want to make here. Yeah. And taking the risk, because a lot of people think that, like, how many people at their jobs go, I would rather be doing XYZ than be at my job. But to actually take the bet on yourself and make that a reality, and to see it manifest into a product that is so cohesive and direct with its design and its philosophies, and then at the same time clicking with so many people, I think it just shows that there's this desire from the development side for people to want to be able to express themselves in ways that a lot of big budget games, or AAA development in particular, is not allowing them to, and then a willingness from players to enjoy those games because it's so different from what they, are used to. Like, think about this game being pitched at a Ubisoft, and if somehow it got past that phase, this would not in any way or shape be the game that we got today. Like, it would maybe 100%. It would resemble it in a lot of ways, but it would be 4 times as long, twice as bloated, have all this obscure shit that it doesn't need. Like, this is the product of a designer who has experience working on games, who knows what players want, what they want to get to very quickly, and, them going, we can make that.
Yeah.
And I think it should be the rule and not the exception, but I'm still glad that we're getting these little bits of exceptions every now and then, because it just shows, like, what creativity there is still left. And there's tons in this industry. I think it just gets lost in the noise of big budget, big flashy games that are actually, a puddle deep. So, yeah, this game's remarkable. Like, it's really good. And, as you play, you start picking up on little things that you think would be a little bit better. Like we said, the minimap not being there. And I find sometimes that, some of the exploration can just be a bit tedious, because the core loop of this game is get into combat, progress the story, and refine your team as you go along. You can explore these like wide open linear spaces, but I do think 90% of the work went into making combat and the story as good as they are, and the rest is kind of there to facilitate that. Not to say it's filler or throwaway. It kind of gets out of the way so that you can get to the good stuff. But I do think there's little refinements that could be made, but it's like trying to really nitpick onto something that I didn't think would have this much of an impact on me. And like you said, I think it would be hard right now, 5 months into the year, to see anything yet toppling this. In terms of game of the year, I just don't see it.
And even just to talk about where this game came from, I remember you and Darren and a couple of people in the Discord talking about this game, and I hadn't watched any trailers. The only reason I had any interest in it is because Ben Starr's one of the voice actors in it. I like him. And honestly, it was a thing of it came out, I was like, I'll play it. I don't know, like if I get time or it come later the year when there's a bit of downtime and I'm looking for a game to play, maybe I'll play it. But then hard cut to just when the game launched, of how well it reviewed and how well it's been received by fans as well, gamers. I think we live in this weird timeline where it often happens, a game will review critically well. I mean, it doesn't always happen, but a game will review critically well, and then maybe gamers will go like, IGN giving it such a high score, what were they thinking? Or the other way around, where IGN or another publication gives a game like a 7, and gamers like, IGN, you're crazy. This game's like 10 out of 10. Clair Obscur is this weird like overlap where gamers and reviewers are like, yes, this is the best thing since sliced bread. It's just, it's been great to see the reception. And because of that, that's why I've started playing it, from not only from you talking about it last time, but I was like, I have to play this game. And I'm so glad I have.
Yeah, it's just, it is remarkable because it's like, this game was on my radar purely because of its menu design. Like I remember when it popped up, I think it popped up last year, near the end of the year. I'm not sure if it was the Game Awards or an event just prior to that.
I think it was an Xbox. It must have been an Xbox.
Oh, maybe it was the Xbox one in February or something like that.
Day one on Game Pass.
Yeah. And I remember it popping up and I was like, ooh, those menus look very Persona-like. It was like, there's a very clear inspiration there. But I think the trailer back then didn't really convey what sort of game this is at all. It is turn-based by nature, and you're building up a squad of people with different abilities and trying to balance those, and you're taking on enemies in a turn-based way. But the way that the combat is, just so active, it's got the sort of Mario RPG-ness to it, but also like a very Sekiro-like feel to the timing window on parries and dodges. And you like, name another turn-based strategy game that you can basically get through a combat encounter without taking damage, but not because you were the only one who took their turn, but because you were able to evade everything from an active perspective, not just because like your dodges initiated for you on a dice roll. Like, it's cool. It's cool that exists, and I think now you're going to get a lot of games that kind of mimic this sort of thing, and they're going to be compared to Clair Obscur.
Yes.
Despite this not necessarily inventing that concept, it just made it. I think it gelled them all together in a very, very compelling way.
Yeah, this game is honestly, like, not at all saying it's not original, but it has definitely borrowed some elements from some of the best games out there, some of which you've named, like the parry system from... parry systems aren't unique to Sekiro, but I mean, I think since Sekiro, that sort of system has sort of found its way into many other games.
Because it's quite rhythmic, I feel. Like they're very... That like you can anticipate hits coming in at a particular rhythm, which is what I attribute to Sekiro a lot.
Yeah.
Because it feels right, and this feels right in the same way.
Yeah, but it just, like, I think you said it right, it just pulls all of those things together in such a smart, cohesive way that just feels good. I mean, and even to your point earlier, there have been this game's got a lot of optional boss fights, for example, and there are times I stumble onto them, and there are some occasions where it's very obvious of I'm too underleveled, to do this. when a boss is doing 3 attacks before I can do 1, I'm like, okay, maybe I should come back.
And one hit is murdering your entire
one
party.
hit's murdering me, and then my 1 attack's doing like 30 damage. Okay, I need to come back. But there've been times I've fought bosses which are maybe just not, way beyond my reach, but clearly something I shouldn't really be fighting at my current level. And there've been a couple times where my party members are just getting down and I'm reviving them, and I'm thinking, oh my god, like maybe I should just start this again or come back or ignore it. And then you do the thing of you block and you sit for it. You're like, actually no, like I can do this. I'm gonna worry about dodges, which are easier to pull off, and then I'll focus on parries once I get the timing down. And this might change late in the game, because I do think there'll be a problem in terms of balancing. Like Jeff has alluded to the fact that you can do some really game-breaking builds, which I can't wait to do. And I mean, if the game lets you do it, that's cool. But there have been times when it feels like I'm losing the fight, but I'm able to pull it back purely because I've learned how to parry or do something. And I'll finish a fight with 1 or 2 members or no revives left or whatever, and it just feels good to pull that off. It's just super satisfying. When you, like, during the fight, you're like, oh god, this is hopeless, to actually, no, I can do this, and you pull it off.
Yeah, 100%. I'm so glad you you had that same experience, because it's happened to me, a handful of times. I wouldn't say every fight feels like that. No. It would be quite impossible for that. But there have been times, especially on some boss fights, where it's been a boss that's killed me once or twice already, for example. And then the fight starts and it's like, oh, this is not going well. Like my roulette hasn't triggered the way I wanted to. And so I've done less damage in my first turn, or I've missed a parry here or there. Now I'm like down to 2 people really early, and immediately you're like, well, fuck, this is a wipe. I just need to kind of like let this go, and so I can restart it. But you have one good turn where you parry everything, and you're like, okay, no, wait, hold on. Yeah. Maybe I can actually pull this back, and to have that happen not once, not twice, a couple of times, and feel like you've really clawed back victory from defeat. Just, I can't describe that happening in like a Persona or a Metaphor or a Final Fantasy, because they're very systematic in my opinion. You're either getting lucky because like a dodge or a crit is hitting at the exact right time. Here you are making your own luck, so to speak. And I just love how that feels. It's really, really engaging.
Yeah. I lost what I was going to say, but I agree with you.
Best party member.
Actually, that it's like you're reading my mind. That's actually what I was going to say, is that if just to talk quickly about the characters and how different they are. I mean, in terms, just if you've never played the game, you've never seen it before, you have a group of party members, and they all do different things. Like they all have access to their own sets of spells or abilities, and they have different systems that are, layered on top of that. So Gustav, for example, every time he parries or dodges or does an attack, he gets a meter that fills up, which allows it. Is it overcharge? Like an overcharge meter.
Overcharge, yeah.
And if you get that to 10 out of 10, you can use it to do a devastating attack. Whereas you get Mael, her thing is just different stances. She can bounce between like defensive stances, offensive stances, etc., etc. And there's other characters who I'm not going to name for spoilers, whatever. But you do get to other characters, and when they initially introduced, every time a character is introduced in the game, I was like, oof, the system seems so complicated to what I'm used to now with Gustav or Luna or whatever. And then you play with them a couple times, like, oh, it's not complicated at all. It makes complete sense, and this character feels completely different to everyone else in the party. And I've had that with every single character I've unlocked, where I look at them like, no, I'm not going to put them in my main party. It's just, I'm too used to playing with my current 3 or whatever. And then I play with the new character, I'm like, oh, this feels good as well. Shit, now I don't know who I'm going to main as my 3, because I like all of them. So it's great design. I don't know, they all feel different in like such a big way.
I think the challenge comes in like trying to find them, like how they synergize together, which is really cool, because like they all have their own mechanics and you have to balance their mechanics through multiple turns. And it's like, okay, cool. Well, how do I fit that in with the other two people who are going to take turns, during each of my overall turns. It's very fun. I think I agree with you. It's like quite easy to get comfortable with a core 3, and then you just start rotating, and you're like, wait, this actually does kind of work. Like I can make this work. It's good. It's just a great game. Like if you've got Game Pass, this is an absolute no-brainer. You should pick this up, give it a go, even if you're not a fan of turn-based RPGs at all. I think there's enough staying power here, even just from the story alone, which is remarkable. It's touching, it's poignant, and it's also just like it knows when to inject levity and humor. Yeah. It's top-notch all around with some incredible vocal performances. Just Ben Starr and co knocking it out the fucking park here.
It just, how these things came together, even that is baffling. Where I think the lead writer, she initially auditioned to be one of the voice actors, for a character, and then
I think that's true.
Ended up becoming like the lead writer. And I don't know if I read this or saw it in the video, but I think her previous role was she worked in like a finance department. How do you go from that to writing like one of the most interesting stories in years? And the same for the soundtrack.
Yeah, I was about to say, yeah.
The composer they found on SoundCloud.
Yeah, crazy.
Never written a game soundtrack in his life. Written one of the most diverse and like just soundtracks filled with so many earworms. Just unreal.
Just one of the most striking OSTs of the past fucking decade. Just unbelievable quality.
I mean, I think I joked about it at some point where, the Final Fantasy VII soundtrack is like 7 hours long. You're like, that's so much music. This soundtrack is that long, and it's I'd say it's just as good. Like it's maybe so not 100% one for one, meeting that sort of standard, but good God, it's like it's basically there. Really,
this is going to become a cult classic in the same way that a lot of the Final Fantasy tunes have. Like, you can hear a lot of those. A lot of those areas, their specific area music, their specific combat music. Like, whenever I hear the combat music from like the Gestural Village, it's like fucking in there. I know exactly where that's coming from. I know what that sounds like. I know what Lumiere sounds like before you even embarked on this expedition. There is such presence to all of that music. It's
the dude could have
that
had
soundtrack's so good.
3 battle themes, one for bosses, one for general enemies, and one for the Gestrals. But it's every area has its own everything.
Man has a battle theme for a place where there's only 2 battles, and they're the tutorials before the game even really begins. Like, that's crazy amounts of detail.
The level of detail is crazy,
and it's so good. Like the vocals on a lot of the tracks are just top notch, just really, really good. Like, there's a few actual like live recording videos or like music videos you can find of some of the tracks, and they are well worth hunting down. Yeah, very good stuff. Yeah,
I would highly recommend you play this game. If you,
it's also if you're not on Game Pass, it's cheap. It's like $800 on Steam. I think it's the same on PlayStation.
Is it not cheaper than that? Why do I think it's like wrong. 600 or 700?
Please hold. Please hold.
The call is important. If you are in the UK, it is it's not £50.
I think it's £50.
It's $50. I think that is the.
But isn't that just how pricing works nowadays? They just put a pound sign and call it a day.
No, the pound, it'll be slightly cheaper. It'll be like £40 or £45.
Is this game on Steam? Oh wow, you're right. It is 630 rands on Steam. That Money is
well spent.
an obscene deal. There's even, hold the phone, and I assume this is because of the publisher, you can buy a bundle, Clair Obscur Expedition 33 plus Dead Cells for 750 rand. Damn.
Oh, I don't know if Dead Cells was published by the publisher.
They're definitely not. I don't know why these two are bundled together on Steam. It's very strange.
Yeah, I think
there's a whole bunch of strange bundles here.
The publishers Kepler, I think, and they did the last big game they did that comes to mind. I think they did Sifu, and they're doing their upcoming football game.
Oh, did they do Sifu? Okay, so
Yeah.
Sifu is one of the bundles, so that does make sense. Oh,
That's
they
right.
also published Bionic Bay, which is a game that I want to get to, and I think you will enjoy. It's the very Limbo-like physics-based platformer that's got a lot of speed running at its core as well. So
Say no more.
Say less. Yeah. That came out in April and kind of like got a very big buzz on it as well. Oh, they're also publishing Windblown, which is the new game from the Dead Cells devs. So maybe that's why that's there. I don't know. This publisher is a low-key banger central here. I mean, just looking at their Steam page, you've got, Windblown, Flintlock is on there. You've got Pacific Drive, which was a big one last year. Ultros from last year, which I really enjoyed. On Guard, which I know Noel really enjoyed. Sifu, Scorn. Okay, Scorn kind of sucks, but like
they've done a lot of games. The last
Cat Quest.
I had a brief look and I saw Sifu. I was like, oh yeah, they did Sifu. Cool.
I'm very keen for Sifu Dev's soccer game. Very keen. Yeah.
I'll just see how that shakes out. But
yes. But yeah, Clair Obscur. Fucking great. Turns out Kepler Interactive knows how to pick them. So I hope that its developer's name is Sandfall Interactive. Yeah, Sandfall Interactive. I'm, now obviously everyone's asking them, is there DLC? Will there be an expansion? I know today was the big thing of like, is this coming to Nintendo Switch 2? And they're like, well, we didn't expect the game to do this well, so maybe, who knows?
It'll come to Switch 2 at some stage. I don't see it not coming to Switch 2.
I think so too, and I think, like, I actually can't wait to see what the studio does, because it is always fun. I guess it's fun, but I also, like, can imagine some of the stress that comes along with it of, like, wow, this thing is a massive success. Oh my God, now everyone is watching what we're doing, But I mean, I'm almost certain I'd rather have that than the game, like, not hit at all. So
sure.
This is such a cool, like, feel good story for this developer in particular, and yeah, I'm just glad people are enjoying this game to the degree that they are. It's like it's been weeks since it's been released, and it's still mostly what people are talking about, which is quite cool.
Also, don't know what the sales figures are now, but it did pass 2 million copies, which is for a AA studio to sell that amount in 2 weeks ish is just like phenomenal.
Oh no, I think I considering the size of the team and what I assume the budget would be, I think they are blowing well past expectation there. I mean, when you think about not viral, but like big games of yesteryear, you think of Balatro. Balatro hit like 4 million in, I think, a year or something like that, which is like monstrously success for a game like that. Like incredible for someone who's one dev, and I think the same goes for this team. Like 2 million's huge. 2 million is not, 2 million under Ubisoft would be like, wow, that really, didn't pan out.
What a flop.
It also
Teams
wouldn't,
cancelled.
it would probably have been like 3,000 people at Ubisoft making this as opposed to 30. So, the math on that is entirely different. So 2 million for this is, and I'm pretty sure it's going to keep going, from strength to strength. Launch this thing on Switch 2, you'll see sales as well, I bet. Yeah.
Crazy.
Game's good. Game is real good. I didn't progress as much as I wanted in Clair Obscur, though, because I was playing another game that is good as well. Equally good. Not as good, but let's not. Sure. Doom Eternal. Not Doom Eternal. Doom The Dark Ages. There we go. Got there. You played Doom Eternal. You reviewed Doom Eternal. I think you reviewed it here when we first got it.
Did I?
I think so.
I don't know. I think, sure, now you're putting me on the spot.
You finished it for sure, because I didn't.
No, definitely. I've played Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal. So I've played the Dooms, the modern renditions of the Dooms, and I've enjoyed them.
The Dooms.
I think I enjoyed Eternal more than you did. Like, I didn't... It was difficult to say, Doom Eternal was way better than 2016, or that I hated it. I was like, they kind of felt the same to me-ish. But I know you didn't vibe with Eternal.
Yeah, I feel like most people fall into one of two camps. You either you found like Eternal a logical and very engaging evolution of 2016, or you found it a bit of a regression in terms of, was it becoming too complicated, too thinking, and, depending on what I guess you come to Doom for, that question gets answered differently. So I thought Eternal was a step back from 2016 purely because it was way too, not complicated is the weird word, because then it sounds almost like a skill issue. It was like, it demanded you play the game in a certain way, and it really did not like if you did not play it that way.
Yeah.
Not so much as didn't like it, like it refused to let you play it in another way. And so Doom Eternal is all about staying very mobile, switching between your weapons incredibly like frequently, because you would have very little ammo for every weapon. So if you're using the wrong weapon to attack the wrong demon, you're just burning that ammo, you're forced to switch, and now you find yourself in a very overly like arduous fight, because now you actually don't have the tools you need that the game expects you to have to fight X demon. I didn't like that. I like blowing people away with the super shotgun. I like the weapons that I like, and I don't like being told, no, you have to use every single weapon in your weapon wheel during every single encounter. It's like, that's cool. It's cool that you did that. That's not the sort of That's not what I played 2016 like, and that's not what I wanted to play when I played Eternal. And so Doom the Dark Ages feels like a response to that sort of player in many ways, because you are given loads of ammo for every weapon. You're given multiple different ways to keep yourself alive. There's like health pickups are aplenty, armor pickups are aplenty. You don't have to kill enemies in certain ways to get health back. It's back to like if you do a glory kill, you get health. If you kill someone while they're on fire, you get armor. And if you use your melee weapons here, you get ammo back. But you don't have to do those things to get those resources. They are also all around you. And so you have a bit more breadth to kind of like play the way you want and enjoy the game how you want. And I find that it made Doom the Dark Ages feel more like the sort of power fantasy that I felt was missing from Eternal. And I'm sure a lot of people are going to come to Dark Ages and be like, well, this feels way too dumbed down to Eternal. And that's fine. Like, from my perspective, I vastly preferred this to Eternal because of that. But the reason, the interesting thing is that this doesn't play at all like Doom 2016 or Eternal. It has kind of like reinvented Doom for the third time, which is kind of remarkable that they are doing this, because like, what are the franchise like completely fundamentally changes how it approaches its core mechanic with every single sequel. You know, they, for all it is doing, and even if they don't fully click with everyone, they are trying different things every single time, which is kind of admirable nowadays. So the big thing here is that you now have a shield.
Yeah.
The whole principle of the Dark Ages is like this idea of standing and fighting. You are no longer having to avoid every single projectile coming at you because you can actively block them. You can parry them to send them back to enemies. You can parry melee attacks. You can use your shield to do like this extremely satisfying like shield dash. It's for all intents and purposes a fucking teleport, because you can see a demon kilometers away from you, lock onto that guy and just click, and you are just like, you are right there in his face, ready to go, punching him, shooting him, doing whatever. The idea is for you to get up in the face of enemies, stay there, tank a lot of their damage, and return a lot of that damage to them. And I think when you compare that to 2016 and definitely Eternal, that is super not how they expected you to play. You would be actively murdered if you tried to play that game, those games in that way. And so it makes the Dark Ages feel very different and very engaging in its own right. I think I had a lot of fun just getting to grips with always having a shield, having the guns have, you know, alternate modes of fire, but less to actually like deal with in terms of this gun needs to do this or this gun needs to go against this demon. I could just, for very long stretches of time, switch between my super shotgun or this, what was it called? I can't remember the name. I think it's called the pulverizer. It's like this gun that basically you can see like a skull sitting on like a bed of like moving nails almost, and then as you press fire, it shreds that skull and shoots out the bone. It is the most like Doom medieval metal thing you could possibly think of, and it's very cool. So swapping between like a very small subset of weapons and still being pretty viable within combat just felt good. You know, it is straightforward in ways, but also a bit demanding in others, because like, even though I could stick to just a handful of weapons, I still had to engage very heavily with, I need to parry a lot of attacks, I need to block some attacks, I need to keep moving at times, and I also need to do a lot of melee damage. Like some of the most satisfying moments in this game is when you are able to parry something, usually the projectile or the attack is like painted in like sort of green, like neon. And those show like, because there's loads of projectiles on the screen at any given time. You can't just parry every single one. There are certain ones you can. And so when that flashes, you can click your shield and you'll parry that attack. And as you parry that attack, there's like a slight, very, very slight pause in the action. And then you can immediately click like your melee button. So you'll either punch, or you'll use your flail, or you'll use whatever melee weapon you've got equipped, and you'll like return the damage back. It's like a counter attack. And so with some bigger enemies, you are like having to parry multiple attacks in a sequence. And when you do that, they become dazed, and then you can just like unload all the charges of your melee attack on them at once, because it's your melee attack is something that like refreshes.
Okay.
And it's refreshed faster the more attacks you parry. So it's like this dance of like, I unload 3 attacks on you, I parry your flurry, now I've got 2, I unload those 2 on you, then maybe I create some distance and then start shooting you again. Or I shield teleport to a demon on the other end of the battlefield and then take him out. It's really, really cool. It does feel, you get into this like sort of flow state of things, and you're just switching from shooting to meleeing to parrying to, it's good. It's really, really good. It does take some time to click. I think the beginning of the game especially is kind of front loading a lot of this information for you, where it's like, you know, it's kind of reteaching you how to play Doom, but trying to do it in a very, very quick way, and then showing you, okay, cool, this is how this all coalesces into one thing. And at times it can be like, well, this doesn't really feel like it's clicking logically, but as soon as I start giving you more enemies which demand more like parrying prowess and stuff like that from you, then you're like, oh, I see how I'm shifting focus from one enemy to the other and continually moving. It's really, really smart, I think. And again, it's like the third way to play Doom in 10 years, which is quite...
it's unreal.
It's very cool. It's very, very cool. There's parts of this game that don't work. I'm sure you can guess which don't. Like, you saw, I'm sure in trailers, like there are moments where you are piloting a big mech and you are flying this massive dragon thing. Those kind of suck. They feel like they're from a different game entirely. You know, like, you know, we've played games for a long time. How many times, especially in like the the early 2000s to like the early 2010s, there's so many games that had these gimmicky like side missions or like missions in between the main ones, where it would be like, cool, now you're driving to this area, so this is a turret sequence, or this is a underwater sequence, or, you know.
Well, that's just what I was going to say. Is like, when has it ever been, name a game where that inclusion was like, wow, this really added to the overall game? It's more...
Exactly.
I'm sure there are examples where people are like, yes, actually, this minigame was the best thing ever, but more often than not, it's just bloat. And it's not, it just takes away from the fundamental, you know, foundation of the game, and it's just, why put it in? What I don't understand this thing of like needing to put in, like if it's a traversal thing or like this thing, there's this fascination of like, put everything in a big mech, it'll be fun. I'm like, no, maybe on paper, but how does it feel, you know?
Or like a 30-minute on-rails turret sequence is definitely what you need after 3 missions of the actual good stuff, you know?
No,
That's what it feels like here, which is super strange. It does feel nostalgic in a way, because I was like, wow, I haven't had this happen in a game in a very long time. But it is that, like, these mech battles are very slow. They're very shallow in terms of mechanical depth. And from like a couple of minutes into, especially the first one, I was like, cool, I want to get back to the actual good stuff. I don't want to be doing this. This kind of sucks. The dragon stuff is not as egregious, because the dragon is more a way for you to move around much larger levels. Like there are a certain subset of levels where it's like, okay, you're going to need to be using this thing to get to platforms and land, and then do the cool shooty stuff, and then get back on the dragon and fly somewhere else. But there is like combat associated with some of that, and the combat on the dragon is painful. It is you just lock onto something. You've got to wait for it to shoot an attack. You've got to dodge that attack. And when you dodge that attack, your bullets do more damage. And that's the only way to kill that thing. It is super stupid. That's just having to just sit there and look at an enemy and waiting for them. Like, you're just waiting to anticipate. And if you miss that dodge, you're like, fuck, okay, wait another couple of seconds for it to attack again. It's so early, like, shooter sort of mechanisms. It doesn't feel like it belongs in a game that has a combat loop this good and this complex and this interesting. To have that and then that happen every few hours is just kind of weird.
What's baffling to me is that, like, that is a good example of, you know, when a studio is too big or a game's too big, where surely in playtesting people must have played it and gone like, I don't know, it doesn't feel that good. But then does somebody turn around and go like, well, it's integral to the game's design or to the vision we have, like it's too late to change it now. You know what I mean? Like, how does that get through to the final product? Is it just too far gone? Like, I don't know. I don't understand how. Because I mean, think of you and me, the player, playing, going like, this doesn't feel good. I'm sure that shines through in playtest. Like, it has to. Is there anyone out there going, this is the best thing I've ever played? I love this mini game. Because that's the only way it can get greenlit.
I agree with you. You're right. I don't know how, especially again with a studio that clearly has done shit tons of playtesting, because a combat loop like this doesn't get as refined as it does without playing, iterating, and playing. So how does that stuff like get past as well? I do think you make a good point. Like, is something too far gone? Maybe they had bigger ambitions for the inclusions of these things, and so when that doesn't pan out, it goes, well, we don't want all of this to go to waste. How can we still integrate what we have? Yeah. And maybe that's the case of it. I'd like to think that id at least hasn't shown in their past 3 games that they put in things because they're forced to, or for a reason to like pad things out. Like, Doom the Dark Ages, it isn't suddenly a 30-hour game just because it has this stuff in it. It is still very tightly paced. I would say around the same sort of time length as the previous 2 games, maybe slightly longer. But yeah, it just feels like a misstep to have this stuff there, because it does just make you yearn to go back to the actual good stuff, which is thankfully 90% of it, you know. So yeah. So the other thing that kind of is a bummer is the story, or whatever the hell the story is. Like, can you tell me what happened in Doom Eternal?
The Slayer stopped the demons from doing bad things. Yeah. As he did in 2016 as well.
Well, I mean, Eternal actually tried to take its story far more seriously, which I think was to its detriment as well. It just told it in a really bad way. I mean, it was like, cool, now the Slayer is, you know, there's this whole mythos to hell, and like there's this warring factions sort of thing, and there's all these demons with like big names that you need to remember. Like, the Dark Ages is kind of that ilk. It is sort of a prequel, but also doesn't really try to connect to anything else. It's just like, hey, they are humans, and they are definitely waging a war against hell, and they're these dudes called the Makers, who are, you know, kind of like your heaven people. You see them in Eternal as well, and they've got the Slayer, and they can kind of tell him what the fuck to do and what not to do. And lo and behold, eventually he breaks free of that control and just wants to murder some demons. But he's got to chase this MacGuffin. He's got to chase this human MacGuffin, because like that's, you know, and then there's this big bad demon who just wants to be a big bad demon. Like, I don't know. There's a lot of time spent on these cutscenes, and the story amounts to like really very little. So I just don't know why they focused on that side at all.
I wanted to ask, I mean, one of the most interesting parts of this game was the setting of, the Dark Ages, it's medieval. Watching the gameplay now, I'm like, I know, okay, maybe there are medieval parts, but how much does that actually play into the overall game? How many castles are you actually running through? Because I envision that, like, that is 95% of the game. It's like, the Slayer has been sent back into, I don't know the story. Okay, I've watched like one trailer, but he's been sent back to the Dark Ages, and there's knights and demons and like that as a setting, like, oh, that just seems very cool. Like it's dark and it's bloody and whatever. Like, but is it that? Because what I'm seeing is not that at the moment.
Yeah, I mean that's a good question, because it's the question I was asking myself in the first few hours. I was like, it doesn't like, aside from the weapons feeling very medieval in their construction nature, like this doesn't feel very medieval. And I kind of came to the conclusion that, okay, firstly, he doesn't go back in time. This is just kind of sort of a prequel to a degree, but I guess the rationale is that this is a different world to ours. So even though it is medieval, like people are carrying shields and they live in like very castle-ish sort of things, but they've got labs that look very futuristic. They are driving Pacific Rim like mechs, like the king of the human clan is driving this fucking
just like
mech,
King Arthur did.
Yeah, I mean, so it is medieval in whatever the fuck universe this is. It is definitely not medieval in the sense that you think of it. I think it's a cool melding of the two ideas, but yes, especially in the first couple of areas, you could be remiss for thinking this was stripped from Eternal or Doom 2016. It does go places.
I'm sure it does.
There are some settings which are kind of fucking wild for the series to explore, and they are the most interesting in terms of how they are constructed and how they use their specific lore to hide certain secrets in their world. I like if I say what they are, then you kind of know what they are, but it's kind of cool to experience that stuff, for yourself.
No spoilers.
It's really neat. But yeah, it's not like horses and chainmail armor and swords. No, you just got a shield and the Doomslayer wears some fur, and that's it. Nah. I mean, look. If you're watching the footage now, like, which Doom is this from? You know what I mean?
All of them.
Yeah, exactly. And that, that's not to the game's detriment. I don't think. I think, its weapons and its combat changes more than they justify the sort of time period they're in. And I think the weapons themselves are all so different that they're just really fun to use. Like, there's instead of a rail gun, you have this gun. Shit, what's it called? I don't know. But it's basically, it functions similar to a railgun in that it does a lot of damage, is very slow to reload, but does a lot of very instant one-shot damage. But instead of like a flash of light, you have this big cannonball that's like connected to a chain that's connected to your gun, and it just like kind of like explodes this ball out incredibly fast. And as soon as it makes contact with something, it recoils and comes back.
Amazing.
And let me tell you, that gun fucking rips. When you are trying to get armor off an enemy and you are just unloading this thing and it is colliding with the armor and you just see the armor break off and this ball continue right through the what you've just described is one of the those old school gloves, like boxing glove on the end of like one of those extendable. Yes, that is 100% what that is. Yeah, like the Tom and Jerry thing where it's like he like plunges it in the boxing glove goes out. 100%. That's literally the. I can't wait for someone on PC to mod the gun to look exactly like that. That is a perfect. So
what you're telling me is that I'm not going to find, instead of the BFG, I was expecting to find your old faithful BFG. Okay. Damn it.
It's good. It's really good. Like, I have my issues with it, but like I said at the start, I didn't finish Eternal. I've tried to replay Eternal like 3 times, and every single time I'm just like, this is not what I want from Doom. And I'm glad that they tried that, and it's cool, but this is so. When the Dark Ages was revealed and it was like this big swing, that's all I was hoping for, was like, can I just feel powerful and invincible again as the Doomslayer? But to a degree, I still want to be challenged and have it feel a bit more complex. And I think this strikes the right balance, at least for me there. And I do think people who really vibed with Eternal are going to come to this and feel like it's a step backwards, and that's fine. It's cool that we are having these discussions rather than, oh yes, it's the third one that feels exactly like Doom 2016, because you definitely cannot say that about any of these games. So yeah, it's good. And I'm keen for you to give it a go. And it seems to be that people are enjoying it so far. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's reviewed very well. I think it's last sort of like 85 on Metacritic, which is
funnily
good.
enough, the exact same score almost as 2016, which is kind of wild to me.
Don't let gamers TM fool you. 85 for a game is really good. Okay.
Yeah, it's just like, how many people are like, wow, wow, this reads like a 9. Damn, jeez. It's an 8.
They're just numbers. It's cool.
Yeah, it's just numbers. It's you can go and play the game right now and not care about the numbers.
It's on Game Pass. Day one as well. Your Game Pass. We are the Game Pass podcast.
Oh, 100%. I don't know why Microsoft doesn't just sponsor us right now. People have been saying it forever. Why aren't these guys paid by Microsoft? Actually, no, we aren't, unfortunately.
We're not. But yeah, I'm keen to play Doom the Dark Ages, but I will get to it when I'm done with so many things I want to get to. I mean, before we end, have you ever, I don't know if this is a common term, but my friend Brad the other day, he spoke about it. You've heard of the backlog, okay? It's all these infinite games you've got to get to at some stage. But he's a term I've never thought of before. He called it his front log, which is the games right on top of the list. I'm like, yeah, that makes so much sense. Like on my front log is Clair Obscur, Blueprints, upcoming Elden Ring game. Like these are games I will play in the immediate future. They're not part of the backlog. They're part of the front log. I'm like, yes. I don't know if he coined it, but it's a great term and I'm going to use it from now on.
This sounds like a coping mechanism. This is like, I don't want to relegate things to my backlog.
So it's in the front log.
I'm just going to call things differently.
Am I actually going to play this game the next 6 months? Nah, to the backlog. Am I going to play it in the next 6 months? Yes, front log. That's how it's going to work. I'm telling you.
But, funny, when you said front log, the first thing that came into my mind were like games that are almost the parallel of, like in Final Destination when you're driving behind the logging truck and then the thing falls off and like goes through the windscreen and kills someone. That's like great games that are in your backlog trying to hit you in the face. That's
100%. No.
That's like Blueprints for me. It's just like just dead,
No, you're too literal. That's just no.
We were scarred as a generation by this film, so I'm just saying.
Were. I laughed when so we completely diverting here, but we're gonna wrap this up soon. But the new Final Destination movie is coming out, or it is out. I don't know. It's on the horizon. Who can say? But Kervin shared in our Discord advertising for the upcoming movie, and it is paying homage to that scene which traumatized all of us. That the truck with the logs. Abigail was like, I don't understand this. I was like, how did you not watch this movie?
How did you
so
escape
lucky.
this?
Yeah. You're not scarred. You're not carrying this trauma with you from a bloody movie.
It's not even that one that sticks in my mind. The one that sticks in my mind is the I don't know which one it's from. If it's like the second or the third one, but where two characters get locked in their sun tanning beds and they just like burn alive.
Horrible.
Rough. Yeah. Very rough.
Yeah.
We'll never do a tanning bed ever again. Not that I've done one, but now I never will. No.
But any inclination, after watching the first movie, driving, not anymore.
Not anymore.
It's just buses and trains for me in my back.
I mean, surely there's been one with like a roller coaster that's happened. Surely. Yeah. That sounds like probably the first idea they had.
I love it. It's great premise for a horror movie. I'd be very keen to.
Fucking ridiculous, honestly.
It is ridiculous, but in the best.
The trailer for the new one, we saw it when Shani and I went to watch Sinners, which is a 10 out of 10 movie. Would recommend.
To watch that.
But they had the trailer for Final Destination, and the whole trailer was just like essentially a 2-minute supercut of one of the kills that will be in the movie. And it's like, it doesn't even need to say what movie it is. People just know. Like within 10 seconds, you're like, Final Destination. Yeah, cool. And you're just watching this thing play out with like almost comedic timing. This person just like dying. Like,
amazing. I'm here for it.
Crazy movies. Isn't there also I Know What You Did Last Summer coming out again?
There's they're rebooting all. They saw the Scream reboot did well. They're like,
all the bangers.
There's a hunger for these, and you know what? I'm there. What makes me laugh is that they're bringing back, even for I Know What You Did Last Summer, they're bringing back. I don't know how many cast members from the original, but they're there. Like they did in the Scream reboot. It's like, I survived this murder spree all those years ago, and I have insight. That's happening. that's happening in this movie as well.
Got
Final
good old
Destination. I
Freddie
don't
Prinze
know.
Jr. and Sarah Michelle Gellar coming back.
So good.
Good God.
Can't
I,
wait.
I couldn't even name a single like main character in Final Destination. I thought the whole point was they all died. So
I could be wrong. It was. Let me just Google this very quickly.
I mean, Scream is easy
Uh,
because there's the one actress from Friends who's been on there for like God knows how many movies. That's pretty much it. Yeah.
What's her name?
And then Jamie Lee Curtis with the Halloween movies.
Yeah, I can't find
Yeah.
it. Damn it! I can't.
Death.
There's one.
Death is
No,
the-
there's. If I say her name, you'll be like, "Oh my God, she's still around." I'm like, "Yes, she's coming back for this movie." Damn it! What is her name? Am I getting her mixed up with someone else? Doesn't matter.
Listen, people got to get paid. People got to eat. I respect people getting that bread. It's okay.
Let's see. Final Destination reboot, returning actress. Damn it! That's not who it is. I can't find it. It's fine.
AI has let us down for the last time.
I can't
fuck's
believe
sake.
they've done this.
Absolutely crazy. You mean to say I'm meant to trust ChatGPT and it can't tell me who the main actress in Final
Can't tell me.
Destination is?
No,
Crazy.
there's one name I saw was
Crazy.
like, oh, of course she came back. I just can't, just under the gun like this, I just can't find it. It's just too much pressure.
Let me tell you, under the gun is a word a phrase I've heard a lot over the past week watching a lot of competitive poker. That's what I should have been talking about for the last half an hour. It's just about how much fucking poker
That
I've
is
been watching.
great.
Unbelievable. Let me tell you, okay, this is how we're going to end the episode because holy shit, controversy in the poker
I'm
scene
ready.
over this thing. Okay, so two things. Firstly, it was a big European tournament that happened in Monte Carlo because it did, Casino Royale
Yes.
vibes. So it last two. So what? It's like a tournament. So there's like 1,000, or in this case, it was 1,200 people who started, and over the course of like 4 days, it whittles down to like 6 at the final table.
Yeah.
And then eventually the last 2, and that's when the poker gets really boring or really exciting, depending on how you see it.
Yes.
The last 2, can you guess which nationalities they were? Wow, bold.
I don't know.
One was Russian.
Portuguese. Oh my God. Yeah.
The other one was Ukrainian,
Oh
which
my
was
God.
very interesting. They seemed to get along very well. But earlier in that day, the Russian dude became the fucking villain of the entire narrative because he did the most obscene thing. He basically pretended like he didn't know how to play poker anymore. He kind of like, he tried to make a bet that wasn't legal at that point. I'm not going to get into the specifics, but basically it wasn't legal. And the Ukrainian dude turned to him. He's like, you can't do that. And the dealer was like, you can't do that. And he was like, oh, but I thought like he thought something else was going on at the time. And so he was like, okay, cool, whatever. Now I have to make a much bigger bet than I thought I was going to have to make because that's the legal one. And so the dude who goes after him is like, well, this dude's acting like a potato. He doesn't know what's happening. He clearly has a bad hand, and he's now been forced to put in a lot more money into this hand than he obviously wanted to. So I'm just going to go all in. So this dude goes all in.
Oh no.
This fucking asshole pretended to not know what was going on while holding the best hand in poker
Oh my God.
and just wiped this dude out, like eliminated. I thought the guy who did this to was Canadian. I thought this dude was going to fucking murder him. The looks he gave. So everyone thought it was an honest mistake, right? This Canadian dude looks like he's just been rickrolled. His face drained of color.
Amazing. I've got to find
Horrible.
this on YouTube.
I'll send you a link. It is the most awkward, like 4 minutes, because this dude's just staring down this Russian guy. And then he gets eliminated, and all the other players get up from the table to come and like commiserate him. And this other dude from, I think, Hungary comes around. He's like, yeah, he did that at another table the other day. And everyone's like, what? Are you fucking joking?
That's great.
The commentators, because at that point they're like, oh, he made an honest mistake. You can't blame that. And then they hear this, like overhear this because everyone's mic'd up. And the one commentator is just like, what? Like there's this pause. Like, did he just say he did this already before? Like, it was unbelievable.
I have to ask,
the scenes.
If you're watching as a viewer, do you not get to see the cards either? You only see when they show their hand.
No. You get to see poker's sophisticated. They've got little cameras on the table. Okay, they used to have little cameras on the table, and so when the players like pick up their cards to look, you can see via that camera.
Okay.
I think how they do them now is that every card has an RFID actual like microchip on it. So when the cards are dealt, they actually know where each card is.
But then
it's like hyper specific.
User viewer knew he had like a really good hand.
100%. Yeah. So you as a viewer, you're looking at this and going, I mean, I looked at it, I was like, oh, he maybe made a mistake, but I would not go all in against him. But obviously his opponent has no idea that that's the case.
That is hilarious.
It was so bad. It was really, really fun. I really enjoy it because the commentators are also fun. Like, they are commentators who have been there for like decades. Like, if you watch old poker videos, it's the same people, and they're just funny, and they've obviously vibed off each other for like years and years, so they have a good rapport. It's like similar to watching Dota. You know, you have certain commentator pairings that work together.
Yeah.
So yeah, competitive poker, really fun to watch. I really enjoy it.
To come back to,
I will send you the link. It was wow. Yeah, watching that in real time.
To come back to that horror conversation, I realized why I couldn't find this actress. Because I was looking at Final Destination. I misled myself. We were talking about I Know What You Did Last Summer. Okay. That's why I was like, okay. I don't understand who these actors, and you're right, they all fucking die. So,
you see, I was right.
Of course they're not going to come back because they're all dead.
So you were thinking of Sarah Michelle Gellar then?
No,
clearly.
Jennifer Love Hewitt. When last did you see her in a movie? She pops up in the trailer. I'm like, oh my god, who is that? To Google her, I'm like, oh yes.
You know, the last time I think I recall seeing her was when they tried to make that live action Garfield movie. I think she was in there.
Jennifer Love Hewitt, Garfield, the movie, 2004. That is 21 years ago. If you want to feel old.
Yeah, I feel old. I'm sure the CGI in that movie has aged so well.
Yep, so she's back. She's back.
Do you know what's fucked up in that movie is Garfield CGI, but the dog isn't?
I've not seen the Garfield movies.
That's fine. It's just weird. It's a CGI cat that speaks English, and then the dog's just a normal fucking dog. It's so weird.
Unreal.
Yeah.
Sure, that's we're getting into the old days here. 1 hour 17. We spoke about 2 games.
No. The old days were like over 2 hours. You forget.
Okay, you're right. So,
you forget.
You know what? But think about this. Okay, it's like we'd get to this point to go, cool, let's talk about news now. It's like, oh my god.
Yeah, exactly. That's also very true. There used to be very different amounts of content on here. I mean, we would get to the news at like an hour in and be like, oof, this is going to be a long one, you know, and then questions. And
1 hour 50, let's go questions. You've got 10 questions.
It's a good question. Have we ever got questions again?
Not that I've seen. We've never
doesn't
asked,
matter. You got if you've never read them, if you never go look, they may as well not exist.
I mean, I don't know. I don't think I've missed any.
I mean, I might delete the emails
you
before
might,
you even see
but you
them.
know what? If you are listening, if you've made it to this point, to episode 270, to witness
survive past the poker
to
chat,
witness the payoff of our switch out of the bed conversation that have been building up forever. You've survived us talking about games. You've witnessed me fumbling Final Destination because I got it mixed up with the note you did last summer. And you've witnessed Alessandro talking about his new love for poker. And you're here and you're still listening. Please send us a question. Or just bring joy to me.
Please do. You, even if your question isn't a question and it's just like, why the fuck did I listen this long into the podcast?
Which side of the bed do you sleep on? And or do you switch because your wife makes suggestions? Or are you the one, your wife says, I sleep on the right side of the bed. You go, actually, I feel like sleeping on the right side. And you switch.
Yeah. Do you actually relate to what we're being put through?
Did you listen to this conversation go, these poor souls? Or did you go, what are they moaning about?
Yeah, 100%.
Swap every week. I mean, come on.
Whoa.
We alternate every
Don't
day.
need to know that much about your relationship.
We could talk about this for a whole podcast. Okay, so when you swap sides of the bed, if you have a bedside table, do you swap the contents of that bedside table to the other side, or do you just leave it?
Yes. Well, it never happens within the same room or the same house. It's usually like when you go somewhere else.
No, but if you did, that's what I'm saying. If you're one of those people, you swap sides of the bed.
I see what you mean.
Every
month.
month.
I thought you're grilling me
you swap
again.
the contents of your bedside table, or do you pull open yours one day and go like, oh, here's my wife's diary?
Wait, hold
'Cause I'm
on,
sleeping
hold on.
hers.
So when you came back, home, when you and Lenska came to visit your parents, were you on the exact same sides of the beds as you were in London?
100%. I sleep on the left side. She sleeps on the right side.
Must be fucking nice. Eh?
I'm actually living the dream. People think a happy marriage is, time spent together, traveling, doing all the good stuff. The secret to a happy
It's the
marriage
small things.
is telling Lenska that she sleeps on the right side of the bed, but letting her try the other side for her to go, actually, we need to swap back. That's the true secret.
Oh, God.
I'll let you in on a secret before we go. I swear we're going to go for real this time. Lenska's working 1 meter away from me. I don't know if she's listening. She's just locked into work.
I was actually wondering because you definitely did speak to her before we started.
I don't know if you heard that. Okay, I don't know if that would go through. For those of you who might have missed it. I'm assuming it went through because our son was also. That's so. Let's also cry laughing, just so we're all clear on that. For
The
those
whole
of you
podcast for the past minute is just laughing and no one knows what the joke is.
For those of you who missed it, Lenska said all she's figured from our whole conversation is that if somebody were to come and kill us, they would know which side of the bed she sleeps on. This is a very dark place to let your thoughts go. Sure, that's funny. I did not expect that. Oh my God, that was great. Sure, many tears were shed.
I think the
on that
best
day.
part of that was the way it was conveyed through your microphone and into my ears when she was talking. It almost made it sound like she was angry about the situation.
Well, that's why I laughed even harder, because I thought it was hilarious. Then I look up and I'm like, is this reaction appropriate? I look up, you are also just cry laughing to the side.
Oh,
It was
God.
great.
We have a good show here.
Oh
It's
my
good.
goodness.
Oh.
Send us questions. That's what we'll.
Oh, yeah, send us questions. Oh, Jesus. It's been episode 270, I think, of Checkpoint Chats. Somehow the pre show spilled into the post show.
Oh man,
This was a lot of fun. I enjoyed this episode. Maybe we should record on Wednesday evenings more often.
my goodness.
As always, thank you so much for listening. Thanks for joining us, especially so if you've got this far. But yeah, let us know what you think of Clair Obscur and Doom the Dark Ages and just whatever the hell else. Wow, I can't speak anymore. Whatever you are playing
your microphone
on your
centered?
front or back. No, sorry, I've moved. Whatever you're playing on your front or your backlog. As some would say. Thanks so much for listening. We will be back next week, hopefully. And until then, stay safe.
Goodbye.
Stay gaming. I can't speak anymore. Goodbye.
Goodbye.